Chapter 11. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Dehas. Details of life, ego and mind. It has been told in the previous chapters that Deha is Vayu and not our body. But it is generally said that there are three different kinds of Deha called Sthula, Karana and Sukshma. If what is meant by Deha is as what Swamiji said, then these three different kinds of Deha also must be explained. What have you understood by Sthula, Karana and Sukshma Deha? I have understood Sthula Deha as gross material body of ours, Karana as a Vidya or nescience known as the Sushupti where nothing is felt, and Sukshma as the mind. All these are wrong. There cannot be different kinds of Deha as you say. But what is known as Sthula, Karana and Sukshma is 1. The Jiva, 2. The Maya or Sakti energy, and 3. The mind. You can never call this body of ours as the Sthula Deha. You yourself say that Sukshma Deha is the mind and that this mind is in the Sthula Deha, gross body. Sthula literally means colossal and Sukshma means infinitely small. It is from this infinitely small mind that this world originated, and this world is sustained by the mind itself. This is the reason why it is said that the world is a creation of the mind. Thus we see that this world has originated from this infinitely small mind and is sustained by the same. This Jadam, the human body, also has originated from this mind. If there is no mind, there is no Jadam. So the Jadam comes out of the mind, which is Sukshma. Not only that. When a person dies, we see the dead body. The dead body has no mind and so it has no world. Its limbs are there as before. It is said that so long as there is Sthula there is the Sukshma, and when the Sthula perishes the Sukshma also perishes. If this body is really the Sthula, how does it exist even after the Sukshma perished? So we can never call this body as the Sthula. When we say a person is dead, it is this Jiva which was the self that has gone out. So when we speak of a Sthula body, it is really the Jiva that is meant. It is in this Jiva, that is the real Sthula body, the mind which is the Sukshma body resides. You yourself say that this Karana Deha is the Sushupti, which is avidya, nescience, where you are in utter darkness or ignorance. That is the state when Jiva wastes itself out as Sakti, energy. This flow of energy is called Maya. This Maya is the Sushupti which already has been described in chapter 7. But people generally call this body the Sthula because they are not able to comprehend what Jiva is. It is like this. Take a cloth and spread a plaster of paint on both the sides thickly and dry the same. One who has not seen this process cannot say that there is the cloth inside. To him it is some substance covered with this plaster. Now draw a map of the world on this plastered surface, and in this map you again draw the figures of the so-called human beings, the so-called animals, birds and reptiles and so on. While drawing the picture of a man, you clothe him also, quite distinctly from other beings. You indicate this clothing by some color which gives it an appearance of being clothed. But it is not the real cloth material. It is only paint. The real cloth material is underneath the painting, but if you want to go to this material and understand its reality, you must remove the plaster. When you remove the plaster you don't see any of the paintings. All that you have been doing was only without seeing the real cloth. You were assuming this paint to be the real material. There was no connection between the paintings and the real cloth underneath. It was on the plaster that the coloring matter was painted. If you want to get at the real cloth, you must remove the plaster. You soak this plaster-covered cloth in water and rinse the same, the plaster will disappear and you will get the real cloth material. The figures also will go away. In this example the cloth is like the Sthula, the plaster is like the Karana, and the figures and other paintings are like the Sukshma. To extend this analogy further, the cloth material is like the Jiva and the plaster is like Maya the energy, and the varied figures on the plaster is like the mind. So, losing sight of the cloth inside the plaster, it is the one represented by the color paint that was considered as the real cloth. In the same manner, we consider this body which is the embodiment of Ahamkara and a product of Maya as the real Sthula. When we know Jiva the real stula, there is nothing else. When the real cloth material is found, then there is no other thing than the cloth. In stula there cannot be differences. Differences cannot be called stulam. Stulam, as already said, is the Jiva, which is the self, and this Jiva in motion is the energy called Sushupti, which is Maya. The Sukshma is the mind, which is a product of this Maya. This is the real state of what is called Stulam, Karanam and Sukshma. We are now in Sushupti. It is because we are in Sushupti all the experiences that we undergo are only in the nature of dreams. Chapter 7 has already dealt with this. It is on account of our dreaming state that these notions of the Stulam, Karanam and Sukshma occur. But really there is nothing like these.